So, just as we do get started, I'd like to respectfully acknowledge the traditional owners and custodians of the lands where we gather across Queensland, and we pay respect to elders past, present, and emerging, and acknowledge the various roles that Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples play in relation to the land, sky, and waterways that are used for outdoor activities. I'm in Brisbane or Meanjin on Yagara country, which is a place of the Jagera and Turrbal peoples. So feel free to pop in what land you're on if you like. And on the topic, I guess, of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples, the date was announced this week for the referendum on the voice to Parliament. So that's going to be on referendum held on October. Outdoors Queensland as an organisation hasn't taken a stance either way on the referendum, but we encourage everyone to make up your own minds and consider what you think is the right option for the referendum and for the country. So, thanks for putting in there the places you're coming from in the chat. We also acknowledge the funding provided by the Queensland Government, which supports outdoor activities right across the state, including funding that allows us to do our work Outdoors Queensland, and acknowledge the work that quite a few government departments and ministers do regarding outdoor activities, which includes Sport and Rec, the Department of Affairs and Innovation in Sport. So this is the 9th episode of Coffee and Conversation for 2023, considering we've just sneaked into September, which is frightening me, the fact that this 2023 is disappearing quickly in the rear vision mirror. My name's Dom Courtney. I'm the Executive Officer of Outdoors Queensland. Mark Squires is my co-host today. Thanks to Mark and all the OQ team for the work that they do. A big welcome to members of Outdoors Queensland and others who are joining us. Welcome to this session. As I said before, and it says on the screen, the recordings of these sessions are publicly available via YouTube and on our website. And feel free to ask questions, make comments as we go along. It really is about being a conversation. I hope you've got your coffee. That's the other part of the important mix of these sessions. So, Mark, you got yours. That's good to see. I've got mine here, my little espresso cup. So, right, I guess we can get started then if we've got the essentials sorted. The agenda, it's mainly about opportunities, some announcements, and the eagle-eyed regular attendees might notice I've actually made an executive decision to remove COVID-19 announcements from our regular agenda every month. So I'm hoping I haven't jinxed us, but I just took it out because we've just said the same thing for about 3 months. So I thought let's move right along and get stuck into the real world of the outdoors without dwelling on what's happened for the last 3 years. So that was my call. Hopefully it won't come back to bite us. If you have any topics that you want to discuss in future sessions, let us know. Anything you want to add to the agenda as we go along, please speak up. Yeah, feel free. So, all right. Firstly, as an announcement, the Queensland Outdoor Census. A big thank you to everyone who completed the survey, which closed on the 31st of July. We had hundreds of responses, which is amazing. We released some initial insights through a bulletin to the respondents to the survey. The interesting thing out of the survey, really, a lot of the initial findings confirmed what we already knew or suspected from personal experience, but it's a really valuable exercise because we can put percentages against statements and be able to make statements based on fact rather than assumption. So I think the survey is going to be quite valuable for us, the Census project as a whole. The summary of the insights that we sent out, we had quite a wide range of respondents with multiple organisations providing more than one type of service and quite diverse structures across the organisations who responded, from non-profit to business, government agencies. We also had the base of operations. It was about 70% Southeast Queensland, 11% far north Queensland, and then the next one was 6% in central Queensland, and multiple other regions were about 3% of the number of organisations. So it was really quite diverse. And it was interesting, although 70% of the organisations said that their base of operations was Southeast Queensland, 51% of the responses said their head office is regional or rural of outdoor organisations across the state. So, of course, large chunks of Southeast Queensland are regional or rural. So it's really interesting that 51% regional rural of our industry, if you think about it that way. So it actually does paint a bit of a picture of the outdoor sector. Then the next one was 46% urban and metropolitan, and 3 or 4% were ticked remote as their head office. And the other big one that we've pulled out of there, just as initial finding, was about workforce. So of the organisations that completed it, about of the workers, the workforce, 60% full-time employees, 20% volunteers, and then I guess the other 20% part-time and casual employees. So it's interesting to see that we talk a lot about the casualisation of our workforce, particularly in some areas of it, but it's also still saying 60% of the workers that we have are full-time, which is that side of it. But the significant chunk of 20% as volunteers across our whole workforce is also a really significant part of the picture. Does anyone have any questions or comments? I'm happy to take any comments on this. We'll put out a full report that'll go out before the end of the year, but I just wanted to flag that there are some really interesting, well, I consider them really interesting findings out of it already. I'm hoping it's of interest to you guys. I'm not just boring you, but it'll be interesting. It'll also be valuable for us to be presenting this picture of what the Queensland outdoor sector genuinely looks like. So a big thank you to everyone who filled in the survey. I really appreciate it, and it's going to set us up for success into the future. And a big thank you to people who shared it with their networks too, because that was an important part of how we got the survey out to more organisations. So yeah, really appreciate that. All right. Next big one, and it's not all about just what's Outdoors Queensland doing, but the Outdoors Queensland Awards. Our nominations closed this week, and a big thank you to everyone who submitted nominations or also suggested other people make a nomination. It's all about recognising and rewarding excellence across the outdoors community, and celebrating individuals, organisations, programs, events, activities that are successful in improving outcomes across, for participants, clients, and communities. So judging is going to take place next week. I say this every year. I'm so happy I'm not a judge, because it's such a difficult decision with the quality of the nominations we receive. I get to just sit back and hand it over to the judges and say, okay, you make the tough decisions. So we'll announce the finalists Monday week. So that's the 11th of September. But the big one is, and it's the last line there on the screen, the winners will be announced at the dinner on Friday, the 27th of October. So last Friday in October. And we're having a face-to-face dinner again at Ridges at Southbank in Brisbane. So that dinner really is about celebrating the outdoors in general, certainly the work of the finalists in the awards, but also the work of everyone across the sector. So hope to see plenty of people at the awards dinner on Friday the 27th of October. Tickets will go on sale shortly, so that they'll be through our website as well. So any questions, comments on the awards? We also have the guest speaker for the awards Bonnie Hancock, who's a long distance paddler, and she's going to tell us a story about her adventures paddling basically around Australia. So yeah, she's we've already got her locked in too. So I think it'll be a really good night, and I hope to see plenty of people there. All right. The Southeast Queensland Regional Plan is being updated by the Queensland Government. I mentioned this at the last session. They have now, it's now open for comments, the regional plan. So this is a really important document. I mean, we said before, 70% of outdoor organisations are based in Southeast Queensland. The stat on the screen shows that more than 70% of the Queensland population lives in SEQ. And that's projected to continue to grow as well. So Southeast Queensland is really important. There's that number there, 1 in 7 Australians live in Southeast Queensland. So I think it's important that we put some feedback into this process. It's about securing access for us, I suppose, to green spaces, making sure that the strategies that they're talking about in this new Southeast Queensland Regional Plan, which affects, 70% of Queensland's population or more, that those strategies actually work for the outcomes we'd like to see for our communities. So really quite an important document. It guides how all the local governments can do their town plans. So it's an overarching document, and it's worth providing feedback to that. There's details via the website. Mark's just shared the link there. Thanks, mate. But it is worth having a look at. We will make a submission to the process, and the submissions close on the 20th of September. So, what do we got? Less than 3 weeks to put a submission in on that one. We'll also publish our submission, but I think it's worthwhile to have a look at it. It can be it's somewhat complicated, but at the end of the day, the big thing that we want to push is the importance of access to spaces and places for people to get outdoors, and make sure that's considered, as well as catering for population growth and everything else to make the region more livable. So that's the key part of that. They're saying that the final update will be released at the end of the year. So it is important that we put submissions in at this point, into this stage of it. Questions, comments? Oh, cool. Jamie, yeah, and expansion into urban break and East Beerwah, very good comment, mate. Yeah, so that's an important part of what we're talking about as far as access to green spaces right across Southeast Queensland, and the preservation and hopefully expansion of green spaces is a big part of that. So we'll certainly be putting in a submission, but it is an important, it's a very important government document that it's one of those ones, if we don't do it now, it's hard to influence change later. So I think that's why it's worth getting on the front foot with it. So yeah, thanks, mate. That's a really good point. All right. Another one, which is government consultation, the Nerang National Park and Nerang Conservation Park and State Forest. There's a draft management plan out right now for that whole area. It's a significant site, obviously, for mountain biking. It's where the 2018 Com Games mountain biking was held. I think they constructed 2 or 3 new trails for the Commonwealth Games, but it's also got bushwalking, trail running, horse riding, bird watching, and also some 4-wheel driving in there. So it is an important document. This draft plan is their strategic direction for the future management of Nerang National Park. So their website and the draft plan talks about the key values of the area, and the need to protect the natural and cultural values of that space. And then the next one, it says, and ensuring the area is accessible for recreation by the community. So the Department of Environment and Science, or QPWS, have been involved and engaged with the traditional owners of that area, the Kumbumeri people. So they have a strong connection to the national park and the surrounding areas. So there's also been consultation with mountain bike groups and conservation groups, but I think it's important that everyone from the outdoor sector has a say on areas like this, on documents like this. So I just wanted to flag it, that it's not, while it's important for mountain biking from, you know, from a regional perspective, it's also important for other activities. So I think it's important that other people have a look at this. I can see Gavin and Claire on the line there, so it'd be worth, from a bushwalking and horse riding point of view, having a look at the plan. We'll certainly do it in relation to all outdoor activities, but the mountain bike riding side of things is important. But I think it's important that we all provide feedback on the document. So yeah, I'm going to put a submission in again, but yeah, and it closes the 19th of September. You can see there's going to be some serious submissions coming in the next couple of weeks. So yeah, so that's another important one to have a look at. Just wanted to flag that. All right. This one's one that it's sort of just passed, but I always wanted to flag it. August was Queensland Walks Month. I went to the launch of Queensland Walks Month at South Bank on the 1st of August, and I spoke about it briefly at our last session. But I also attended, along with Gavin, the walk at Government House in Brisbane yesterday, which concluded the month. So it was a nice sort of nice way to finish off the month, to have a walk through the grounds there at Government House here at Paddington. But there were walks right across the state, including in Cairns and Rockhampton, and also right across the Redlands that Bushwalking Queensland arranged. So it was a really big effort to Queensland Walks and all involved in the initiative. Gavin, did you want to comment on any of that with either your Bushwalking Queensland or your Queensland Walks cap on? And Gavin literally had his Queensland Walks cap on yesterday at the walk.
Yeah, we had like 30 people in total for the walks, and half were club members from bushwalking clubs around Southeast Queensland, and the other half were just general members of the public. So yeah, we thought it was a good success. The popular walk was Coot-tha MTB Island. So yeah, it was really good.
Yeah, well done, and well done to everyone involved. And the one thing from yesterday's walk too, the governor's very keen to see more people go along to those walks at Government House. You don't have to be, you know, a member of the Queensland Walks, or yesterday was also with multicultural Queensland Multicultural Month launch as well. But there's another one next week. I think it's next Thursday. There's another walk, and the governor led the walk and set a pretty brisk pace around the loop as we headed around the grounds. So yeah, it was a really good thing, and they're really keen to see more people there and doing their monthly walks. I think it is monthly or every 6 weeks, but they've got another one next week. So it's a great thing for people to be getting access to places like that. I'd never been there before for around the grounds, and it was nice to see. I think I've driven past there a few hundred times just over the years. So it was nice to actually go for a wander through those grounds, which are part of the broader public estate. So yeah, but the Queensland Walks, I also spoke to the 10,000 Steps, Nita from 10,000 Steps, and they've logged during Queensland Walks Month, I think it was well over 1 billion steps that Queenslanders have logged as part of that process, which is pretty cool. So they said it might be, they're going to release the final figures, but it might be like, you know, well over 1 billion steps, which is amazing as part of that project. So yeah. I'm just looking at the comments. So Mark's put a story about falling rates of walking and cycling post-COVID upswing. That's a bit concerning. So worth having a look at. And I said, Gavin, you've just shared the link to the so it's Child Protection Week one for the Is the Wolf next week. Cool. Thanks, mate. All right.
Yep.
This next one is a Business Boost Grants program, which is run or administered by the Department of Youth Justice, Employment, Small Business and Training. So it's for all the details are on their website, but it's actually about assisting small businesses enhancing efficiency and productivity. It's funding in three, it says on the screen there somewhere, three project areas around future planning. So it could be planning for your business, specialized and automated software. And it's not just buying Microsoft 365 or whatever. It's about, actual, if your business needs that sort of software. And then planning and systems for staff management and development. So they're the areas that it covers for the projects, with funding of between $10,000 and $20,000, with co-contribution by the applicants. So it's a expression of interest process or registration of interest then by the 12th of September, and then they will contact people to make applications. So I just wanted to flag that one. The details are on their website, and it has a really simple eligibility checker. It's worth having a look at if you're interested in that, and you might be eligible for your business, because if you're planning on spending some money on one of those things, on your future planning of your business, or your systems for staff management development, or even specialized software, if they're willing to pay half of it, then you might be worth having a look at it and check your eligibility and check the conditions. So I just wanted to flag that one because there is some money available out there. Just checking the comments. Jamie's just put one in there. Logan's walk and talk for wellness program. Thanks, Jamie. Yeah, it's good to see programs like that that are going on. So yeah, thank you for sharing that, mate. Did you want to comment on that one, mate?
I just wanted to share, I attended a Parks and Leisure Australia conference a couple of months ago now, and they had the facilitators who started this program during COVID attend and talk about the benefits of connecting to nature and the biosphere around us, and also counselling people. So it was an opportunity for, during COVID, there were almost graduate counsellors through the university, Griffith University. They needed their practical experience, and obviously it was very difficult at the time for people to book in to see a counsellor, let alone students get practical. So they started this program and made it available to the community. And of course, at the same time, the community couldn't get access to counsellors either. It was such a big backlog. It was just a successful story about students being able to connect to people, offer counselling services, but then also appreciate nature at the same time. And if anyone would like to contact details of the facilitators, I have those. But looking to expand that up in our area as well.
Great. Yeah, that's good to hear, Jamie. Yeah, and Gavin's just popped one in there that Ipswich is having an Indigenous food walk at Harding's Paddock on the 10th of September. Thanks, Gavin. So yeah, if we get more details on those, we can share that. I went to just one day of a social prescribing conference at the Gold Coast a few weeks ago now, and there was a presentation there by a couple of people who talked about just the benefits from exposure to nature was a large part of it. And there was one program which really was very cool. It was a surfing program down on the New South Wales south coast, I think, and they were doing a program for returned service people and who have symptoms of PTSD, and looking at the benefits of their program in that space, from surfing, but the physical activity side of it, but also the exposure to I guess, blue space in that case. And also the social connections of just turning up to go surfing with a group. I think it was once a week for 10 weeks, and they looked at the benefits of that and the long-term benefits, whether the people kept surfing or not. They were looking at those sort of things. So it's a really interesting area. There's a lot of research in it, but it's always good to hear those stories of the actual impacts on people's health and well-being from those sort of programs. So yeah, it's always good to hear. So thank you, mate. Just a touch on Sport and Rec's grant funding as well. There are a couple of programs open at the moment. The Fair Play vouchers are still open. They often not sell out, what's the word? Allocated very quickly. So it's worth having a look at those ones on their website. There's also the Emerging Athletes Pathways program. I don't think it's really all that relevant for our people, but unless you know someone who might be eligible for that one, it's worth having a look. The website has the details, but I've said this before, it's always worth talking to your local Sport and Rec office with their very helpful staff. They'll point people in the right direction. It may not be Sport and Rec funding, it might be something like that business boost funding that they know about. There are different ways of accessing different opportunities. So just wanted to flag that as well. Also, this one's one that Outdoors New South Wales and ACT they ran a survey on the outdoor industry's position on climate change in 2021, and they're running that survey again this year. So they want to look at, I guess, a comparison on people's sentiment, or the outdoor industry's sentiment now compared to 21 when they did their last survey. So it's all about our position on climate change. And they're asking people to take the time to complete their survey and also let other people know about it. I think the more people who fill it in, the better. It's really, so they get as much information as possible and can understand where the outdoors sits in relation to climate change. I went to, I think I spoke about it last session, went to the NATCOR, the National Centre for Outdoor Risk and Readiness. They ran some workshops on critical incident matters, and their whole thing is really based around impacts of climate change. And I guess the connection to critical incidents is the fact that as climate change impacts the countryside, we know that there's higher likelihoods of more extreme and more regular serious natural disasters, etc. So it's an important thing to think about. The other one, Mark's just shared the link to that story with the link to the survey. But the other one too, there's only I think this week, the Bureau of Meteorology put out their long-range forecast for spring and summer, and they are predicting, hotter than normal and high potential fire danger across large chunks of Australia. And it was an Australia-wide prediction that they put out this week, but we all are going to need to, I guess, keep an eye on that sort of thing as far as our engagement with the outdoors. So I think it is timely to have a look at this climate change survey as well, if you can. So any questions on that one? Comments? Oh, cool. All right. This one's a reminder. I didn't, it is deliberately in there twice because the awards is a big thing for us. The tickets for the dinner, as I said earlier, go on sale early next week. Really want to get as many people as possible coming along to the awards. The finalists will be announced in a couple of weeks as well, on the 11th of September. It's a week and a half. So yeah, hope that we can get people along to that. I should have said earlier too, we're looking at coming out of the census. The census was all about, you know, who outdoor organisations are, what they do. It wasn't about how they do it and what are the challenges or issues involved in it. So we are looking at another survey. We don't want to survey people beyond what's reasonable, but it is a survey about what are your needs, and we're looking at a survey on what are your needs and what do you need, particularly from us, but also from the sector as a whole. So there could be other people like NatCor who might look at our survey and say, oh, we can help with, you know, information about climate change or organisational development, the sort of stuff that we can do. So yeah, that's what we will be doing, another survey probably before the end of the year. So just I'll let you know more information about that. But the awards is all about a dinner celebrating what we do and how we do it, and really encourage people to come along and have a great night with a wonderful group of people. So that's where that one at Ridges on Friday, the 27th of October, and be awesome to see a full room of people again, rather than doing it online as we have for the last 3 years. So we enjoyed doing it online, but it'll be really nice to be together in a celebration together again. So that's what we're certainly looking forward to. Mark's been doing heaps of work on the awards, and thank you for that, mate. Yeah, it's sort of over to the community now to come along to the awards and celebrate all the good things that have been happening. All right. That's pretty much it. We've ripped through it today, probably because we didn't have any guests and it's just been me jibber jabbering. But does Mark get an award, Gavin? Yeah, we'll give him the award for the best holiday this year. When he disappeared for a few months, but he probably gets an award for coming back because he's got to put up with me. So he should get a couple on the night, mate. We'll have to wait and see. I haven't got anyone from inside the outhouse here, but I'm not sure when the next session is. They had one I saw recently, but I haven't joined them for a while. I had a bit of a break too the last couple of weeks. But just a reminder there about our websites and our e-news bulletin coming soon, Mark, or has it gone out?
It went out about an hour ago.
Oh, thank you, mate. Yeah, so there will be a bulletin in your inbox for this month because it is the first of the month. So a big thank you to Mark for all the work that went into that. Yeah, so, and also don't forget about our social media channels. If you haven't already, please feel free to like and follow, and I don't know what the other terms are on Instagram, etc. But yeah, have a look at our social media. It's another great way to interact and engage. Mark thinks he should get the OQ General Dogs Body Award. That one could be competition, mate. You reckon you've got that one side up? But yeah, all right. Maybe we should have that one. We'll have to have a look at the schedule to whether we add one in. But yeah, look, we've ripped through this today. Does anyone have any other things you want to talk about or topics of conversation for future or for now? Happy to open the floor up. A whole lot of silence.
Can I just issue an apology for my name's Rachel, and my laptop was not working and I'm on my phone and I thought my screen was off, so apologies for anyone that saw my daughter's face trying to work out if screen was on and saw really awkward. So really big apologies for that.
Well, I didn't notice, Rachel, but then I'm sort of staring at about 3 different screens, so no problem at all as far as I'm concerned.
On the screen.
I'm pretty sure you wouldn't be the first person to have tech issues on one of these calls. Let's just put it that way. I think we've all had them from time to time, probably including myself. I know that for a fact.
Awesome. Well, yeah. Apologies to anyone that did that. Yeah.
No problem. Does anyone else have any general apologies? Mark, do you want to apologize for anything, or everything perfect in your world? It's been yeah, thank you for another session. Obviously we've ripped through it today, as I said, but yeah, happy to finish it up there if everyone's good, and it's always good to see you all, and look forward to hopefully seeing some or all of you at the Outdoors Queensland Awards dinner. So righto, thanks very much everyone, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks folks, see you next time.
Bye.